Like,
Da, da, theme song, theme song. Da, 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 da.
I'm Tanya,
I'm Nikki.
and we are 1,000 Eyes and One, the
The
podcast.
podcast.
Today, it's The Wheel of Time, Season 2, Episode 6, Eyes Without Pity. To find previous episodes, go to thousandeyespodcast.com. You can also find us on YouTube, 1,000 Eyes and One podcast. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter as 1,000 Eyes1, Facebook and Instagram, 1,000 Eyes and One. If you're interested in our speculative fiction book club, that is Wine on an Empty Stomach on Instagram.
What's a title? Wow.
We start with Egwene's new home.
The kennel.
The
The
kennel.
kennels, as they call it. Like, yo, that poor girl. It's like you see her being dragged in. Like, first of all, how strong is let me get her name right.
Rena, her Suldam.
Yes. How strong is Rena? Yes, her soul down to be dragging her and kicking and just like walking in, just like effortlessly.
I know,
Like
she
their
was putting
training
up a
plan is
real
something
fight.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have questions about that. So we learn a few things. We learn a few things about this Damane and the Suldam. Important things.
Mhm.
Like the Damane feel the Suldam's pain
Yep.
twice over.
Ouch.
The collar is called an Adam. And I guess it's the collar and the bracelet together that's called that.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, obviously, we learned that it is a Tarangrial. We were talking about that.
Tarangria.
We were talking about if that was Oh no, we were talking about if the mouthpiece was a Saangrial to like amplify their power.
Right. Right.
So we don't know about
Jury's
that
still
yet.
out on that, right?
Yeah, we don't know
Yeah.
what the mouthpiece is yet. It could just be to tell them to shut up. I don't know.
Because you don't
It
need
was
words to channel, but like,
it was
just
spooky
I
though,
don't
like
know.
at this like dungeon, and you just hear all the screaming.
All the screaming in the background. Like, let me ask you a question. Hearing all the screaming in the background, would that have made you more cooperative?
Yes.
Right? It's like I don't want to
I'm
put
gonna
up a
be
fight.
honest. As much as I like to believe that I would put up the kind of fight Egwene put up, I just feel like that
Mm,
first little bit of torture would put me in my place.
yeah, I mean that's what they're hoping for. You talked about the Raveners from Good Luck Girls, and you
Yeah.
know, and then you find it's like the first little bit of torture that she had, and then to find out that like anything that you try to do or whatever comes back multiplied by two. Like, I don't know. Think about the most painful thing you've experienced and multiply it by two.
Yeah. It'd only
Like,
take
how
one
are you
time.
not passing out?
It would take one time. I would black out and I'd
Right?
wake up and I'd be like, okay, not doing that again. Like I wouldn't, oh my God, I would
You
not have
know,
lasted in the
it's
olden
like the tenet,
times.
first tenet of Caribbean parenting. One lick, and that's you should do for the rest of your life, because then they can just follow it up with like
The look.
glances.
Yeah.
The look, capital THE. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm amazed that let's just talk about Egwene for a little while
Yeah.
and
I'm
her
happy to
whole
talk about her.
situation. Um,
Hmm.
you can't a Damane can't touch something that they think of as a weapon.
That shit blew my mind.
That was crazy.
And it's just like not only are they saving the Soldan from is keeping the Soldan from harm, but it it becomes a clear indicator as to your mindset as a Damane,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like how creative are you going to get with these weapons? But not only is it keeping the Soldan safe, but it's if the object is something as life-giving as water, your ass gonna be thirsty
Right.
until you submit. That shit is the craziest part to me, is like she was suffering and keeping from herself. And I think that just, that obviously reinforces the connection that's intentional.
Hmm.
But whew, man.
And it means there's no way for them to do like an uprising because the moment you start thinking
Mm-hmm.
about using something, you can't even touch it.
Exactly. You know,
We haven't learned.
like fuck the chancleta, fuck the switch, like not even your pillow, not that she has one, you know. Although the Aes Sedai, the blue Ajah Aes Sedai in the other cell, she seemed to have like a whole bed set up. So maybe you earn
That's because
those.
yeah, I was gonna say she probably earned it. When they did
Mm.
the recap, do you watch the recaps?
I do watch the recaps, yeah.
Yeah, they showed her in the recap, so I knew right away that she was captured and that what we thought was true about the Aes Sedai that got
Mm-hmm.
sent to invade to investigate the invasion. So I was like,
Right.
ah, shit, they got her. Once I saw her in the
Mm-hmm.
recap, so I wasn't surprised to see
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. As soon as I saw her, I don't know. I don't think I picked up on her face in the recap. But when I saw her face at the end, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this chick. Totally remember her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Egwene
Mm-hmm.
lasted longer than her as far as being tortured.
And the look on her face when she finds out that she lasted longer than her was not one of submission in my mind. I think she's like starting to believe her own hype, right? Like she's really powerful. Like Nynaeve is way more powerful than her, but she is special. Um,
She is.
and I think that confirms it for her. Like the spy Aja chick didn't last as long as me. Like that would definitely put um some power into me, build
It
my
was
confidence a
interesting.
bit.
It was interesting to me that when Rena when Rena told her that she was special, she almost looked happy to hear it.
Yeah, she did. She's been looking for acknowledgement this whole time, because it's been so much, everything has been so focused on Nynaeve that for her to get any bit of acknowledgement is a boost to her.
Mm-hmm.
It's like coming out of your family's shadow when you move away from home. Maybe listen, listen, my therapist said, no, coming out of your family's shadow and being an individual for the first time when you move away, and people get to know you as, just Egwene, not Egwene, Perrin, Matt, and Rand, um,
Uh-huh.
and Nynaeve. This is the first time she's experienced that since she started channeling. Um, so
It's all
yeah, a little.
it's almost grotesque to me that like
Mhm.
I mean, you feel what you feel, right? And so
Yeah,
I imagine
yeah,
to her, it's a grotesque feeling to feel proud in that
right.
moment.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're just basically like, hey, Stockholm syndrome, let's go.
Yeah, it's complicated. Sorry, I'm like stuttering. It's
Hmm.
complicated. It's complicated.
What did you think about Rena?
Ooh, Rena, first of all, let's talk about her strength again.
Hmm.
When she picked up Egwene to continue torturing her, I was like, bitch, what the fuck?
Like single-handedly.
She snatched her up like it was nothing and hung her from that
Hmm.
hook. My God, that was awful. But I thought about what she said about how most Sul'dam disagree, but she thinks there should be some kind of friendship between them. And I, as they went on, she seemed more disappointed that Egwene wasn't
Yes.
submitting than
Hmm.
she did
Hmm.
angry.
Yeah.
And and when they channeled together and burned that tree,
Hmm.
and Egwene felt all that power and it seemed like they had a connection. And then when Egwene tries to grab the
Hmm.
water again, of course, she can't grab it. That's when she seemed almost sad.
Yeah. I think she was sad. I think she was disappointed. She looked hurt that here she is trying to show her a quote unquote kindness. And
Mm-hmm.
even after this, unifying bonding experience, um, that Egwene still doesn't trust her. She's still not broken. She still won't submit. But I think that even though Egwene recognizes let's call it the advantage of them, the bond, that there's something really twisted in saying, hey, let's look at this tree. I know it gives you comfort. Now
And
let's
then burning
let's
it
burn the thing
down.
down. Like the one thing that you knew was bringing me comfort, we just destroyed. Bitch, I
Right.
don't trust you still.
Right.
Yeah. But something I have a question about is, since we're talking about Rena, is like all this time, like she seems like she's trying really hard to build and establish a relationship with Egwene, right? She says, I want to know your name. I think it works better if we're cool.
And
Let's be
she lets her keep
friends.
her name.
And she lets her keep her name, right? These to me are all just like systematic methods of, like good cop, bad cop, except she's both of them at once. Like interrogation and methods of breaking people. But the thing that I wonder about her is, what does she have to what does she have to gain from being successful in this bonding, being successful in this breaking? Because like what does the affinity mean? What is it filling for her? Is this something that they all have to master? Um does her rank or whatever, is it dependent on her being able to do this? Is this a trial for her too? Is this the first person, like first Damane that she's had a connection with? And the reason I ask that is because I notice, well, one, because I'm curious about that, but I notice like her unfilled tattoos on her face, whereas other
Yeah.
Soldan have it completely filled in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering if that's like, does she get promoted and get more ink? I don't know, but it seems to
That's
me,
interesting.
just from studying that, you know, yeah, it's like, is she on trial too? Her ability to do this, because I'm sure that if the Damane have to go through this training process and this breaking, that the Sul'dam must be going through something too. You don't just get to be a Sul'dam. Like giving somebody the power to control somebody else who can channel, that doesn't seem like it's handed out like Halloween candy. So
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
they have to earn their damani. Their damane. Suroth says that, and when she sees Liandrin, remember she was
Mm-hmm.
like, you don't get to just be born with this power and use it. You have to earn it, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I guess a part of it is her earning it. And I imagine being a Suldam gives you status.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the Suldam don't own the Damane. The lords own
No.
the Damane. Suroth mentions that later when she said it is, if our wealth is measured in our Damane, I have more than Turok. She mentions that like later
Mm-hmm.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So the Damane are not the property of the Suldam. They're still the property of the lords, but the Suldam are what control them.
I guess that another way of asking this question is Rena a novice in the Soldan world?
Yeah. I don't know. The tattoo thing
Hmm.
you said though, that makes sense. I could totally see that being
Yeah.
the case.
Shout out to those braids though.
I was about to say them braids are clean.
Hmm.
I
They
liked
remind me of like the Ethiopian style,
where it's like the
where it's
thicker
like they
braid
have their
on
braids and
top.
then it's stuffed.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
thicker braid on top. Yeah. Let's see. Since we're on the topic of Egwene, let's talk about Elayne and Nynaeve in Falm.
Oh God. Jeez. Just
I know.
grunt and moan and grr.
Once again, Nynaeve is being
Once
combative.
again.
She's being combative and absolutely pissing Elayne off, who says, I am not
Mhm.
the one who got us into this situation. And I was like, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for saying
you.
that.
Yes, that was my exact reaction. That was my exact reaction. And then I was pissed at Nynaeve for giving her the yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, she's like, I know it's my fault, but that, and I'm gonna make no, no, no. Let's stop at I know it's my fault. Full stop.
Right. I messed
Let's
up.
let that sink in.
I messed up. I got manipulated. She tricked me. you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Let that hang in the air. Yeah. So she's dodging, skirting accountability again.
And
And
I guess
it's just like, why is she such a problem?
the other side of that, though, is Elayne didn't have to follow her.
No, she didn't. She definitely did it. So then we get a little bit of insight to her upbringing because we learned that Egwene is her first friend. So she's probably been raised in isolation. Um, Maybe we have a little bit of people pleasing going on there. I don't know. Maybe she just didn't want to be left out. But if this is your first friend, then you are gonna, be their ride or die. And I appreciate that about her.
Mm-hmm. Because again, she's the daughter heir. She could just be up in the tower and be like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
That's none of my business. I'm gonna stay here,
Yeah.
and just do my thing. But like you said, Egwene is her first friend, and she was really following Egwene, not Nynaeve.
Yeah. 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 But it's still Nanny's fault.
It is. And Nynaeve calls her princess like a slur.
Mm-hmm. I'm so sick of her bullshit.
Yeah, do they want us to not like her?
I feel like they do because she's gonna have to have a really strong redemption arc. I'm holding some face for that.
Okay.
Especially
Because
me, and especially like at the end of this episode, like if you don't learn to like control yourself and to just be like, I'm gonna listen to other people because all of your actions and shitty decisions are having horrendous consequences. Like, how many episodes do we have left? Two?
two, two.
Girl, learn, please.
It's just with everything that's happened so far to see her still be so mule wool headed, as she likes to call people.
Mm, mm-hmm.
I just don't understand what's not clicking, like, what's not getting through to her.
If we made a drinking game out of every time we said I can't with her, like people would be drunk in the first
They'd be
5 minutes of this
hammered.
podcast.
They'd be
Like
unconscious and they wouldn't make it to the end.
WTF. Yeah. Oy. Yeah, no, she's terrible. And I don't want her to be terrible. I see her, I see her softening a little bit, and then she does something that's so stupid that I can't. I can't with her. Poor Rima. What a terrible house guest to have.
So they tell Rima that Liandrin is the one who got them into
Right.
Falm and turned them over to the Sianchin. Rima also seemed not only surprised to hear that there's a black Ajah and that Liandrin is a dark friend,
Dum
but
dum dum.
also horrified. Like there
Mm-hmm.
was fear.
Yeah. Yeah, what I'm interested in knowing is that we see now people's reactions to the mention or the confirmation of there being a black Aja, but now I want to know more about that. Like, is it written somewhere in the histories that this order existed, and what do they say about it besides the fact they're a dark friend and sworn to the dark, yada yada yada. I want to refer me to the text. I want to see what the text says, and I hope we get that.
I I feel like the black Ajah is something that's spoken about in whispers and passed down.
Hmm.
When they talk about
The
the
forbidden
last
section of the library in Harry Potter.
but when we talk about the breaking,
Mm-hmm.
maybe people discuss there being a black Ajah involved. And then over time, people don't believe that that was part of it. They believe it was an embellishment or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, because
maybe
how
they're
could they? How could this be?
right. They're Aes Sedai. They're
Everyone's
not
fighting
supposed
for the
to.
light.
Yeah, exactly. The Aes Sedai is supposed to be fighting for the
Yeah.
light. My other question is, how is the Black Ajah something that was restarted? Has it been there all along? And how are they recruiting people? How do you know which sisters are the ones who will join you? Or are they just individually recruited by like Forsaken and Dark Ones or whatever? But
Right.
then it would have to be Dark Friends who, because the Forsaken have been locked up. So it would have to be Dark Friends who recruit other
Yeah. How
Dark
do you know?
Friends.
Yeah. How do you know the person is willing to become, a turncloak? But I guess they keep the eye out for the signs. You know, like maybe reckless ambition or just like, obstinance or something is a sign. And maybe that's why Liandrin was like, yo, Nynaeve, not only is she super powerful, but she got the qualities that I see in a black Ajah, you know, candidate. I don't know. I would really like to know. Because like you said, the Forsaken are just now waking up. But if they were all awake or some of them were awake, then it seems like, Lanfear would be a really good person to, go in and figure out who might be down, join the black.
For a while, I thought Leandrin's interest in Nynaeve was because she was so powerful and she wanted her to be Red Ajah. That's what I
Yeah.
believed at first. Now
Hmm.
I wonder if Ishamael specifically wanted Nynaeve as a weapon for the dark.
I think so.
And if he
I
had
think that
Liandrin go get Nynaeve to bring her to the Seanchan so that she could be part of their army.
No, I think that's a really good point and observation. The other thing that comes to mind to me is that if Ishamel did not ask Leandrin specifically to bring Nynaeve over to his side, that she may have just seen her raw power and been like, oh shit, no, we need her on our side. This will give me brownie points with the dark ones and stuff. And maybe that's why she's bringing them over. But yeah, I think the whole time now that we know that she's not Red Aja, that she just wanted them to be on their side.
Now that I've said it and I'm thinking about it, I definitely lean more to Ishamael specifically wanted Nynaeve because she's Tavaran, which means he's probably noticed her
Mm-hmm.
and has been watching her, just like he was in Perrin's dreams and he'd been watching Rand. Because in the beginning they didn't know which one was going to be the Dragon Reborn.
That's right. I forget, like, because he now has a face. I keep forgetting about his faceless nature and being
Mm-hmm.
around before he was actually freed.
Right. So
Right.
now I'm leaning towards he specifically wanted Nynaeve because she's so powerful.
Mm, yeah, I can see that too. Will we learn more? I don't know. Do I need to read the books to find out? I
Maybe.
guess so.
That's the thing. I don't know what's been changed for the most part. I don't know what's been changed from book to show. And I also
Hmm.
don't know if they're doing things in different timelines and speeding certain things up or
Right.
saving certain things for later. I have no idea. So I'm unfolding it
Yeah.
all with you.
Hmm. Speaking of timelines and speeding things up, I felt like this episode went really quickly. Like
Yeah.
the other ones felt like they were more action packed, just like packed period. But this one, it was over in a blink. And even when
Yeah.
I rewatched it, it felt like it went really quickly.
This one felt like it
Maybe
was
because it
just,
felt like more vignettes.
yeah, yeah. And it felt like it was more answering questions and kind of just telling us what's going on,
Hmm. Yeah.
excuse me, than things actually happening. Rima tries to send Elayne and Egwene back to the tower. And Nynaeve's like, I'm staying, which totally understand that. And Elayne is
Hmm.
like, well, I'm staying too, and I understand that. I was definitely supportive of them not going back to the tower, especially because I felt like even though they're not as powerful, well, Nynaeve's as powerful but not as skilled. Elayne is not as powerful but more skilled than Nynaeve. I felt like Rima could
Hmm.
probably use their help. Obviously, she
Yeah.
can't take
Yeah.
on the Seanchan alone because she's already lost
Yep.
two sisters to death and one to captivity. She has an Adam, which again we find out is a ter'angreal, and
Hmm.
it Nynaeve learns when she accidentally challenges when she accidentally channels too much that it needs healing, and
Wah, wah.
the only way it can be healed is to be placed on a woman's neck, on a channeling
Yes.
woman's neck.
On a channeling woman's deck, which brings me back to Rena, right? Like, is there something like what is going on with her? If it can only be healed, like what is the thing that I don't know how to phrase this, but is there a deficiency in her that's only filled by this bond? I don't know. It makes me question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then to find out that there's no taking it off, oof, man, That reminds me of another fantasy book by Jim Butcher called Furies of Calderon. And yeah, there's a collar like this that makes people obey, and everyone is terrified of it, especially if they're a woman, because you could fill in the blanks there. But yeah, just having absolute control of someone. And you see Egwene when she tries to take it off and she ends up scratching her own neck, like she's clawing at her own neck. And whew, yeah, no,
Yeah, she was
yeah.
pretty
I mean,
fucked
it's
up by
very
the end.
scary.
She was pretty fucked up by the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like her eyes were all like the blood vessels were broken in her eyes. Her face is cut up and
Mm-hmm.
bruised. Her neck. She was in bad shape.
Yeah.
Nynaeve's use of accidental too much use of the power
Especially blowing people's covers left and right.
blew their cover, and this the Suldam that we saw earlier in the village with the blonde Damane,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Sniffing
around.
around.
Yeah, they're sniffing around, and Nynaeve's accidentally brings them right to them.
Mm-hmm.
Rima,
Can we, Carl, before you go to Rima, can we talk about Nynaeve yet again? If you were Nynaeve and you knew that you had no control over your channeling, would you have not sat this one out and insisted that you sit this one out? I would have.
I don't know. I mean, she knows that she can't really control it like that, but I think it makes sense to be desperate enough to try if she thinks it's gonna help
Mm,
Egwene.
yeah. I don't think I would have tried. I would have been too afraid.
I mean, I would have already been too afraid of the one power from the very beginning. I would have been too afraid back when Trollocs invaded my invaded my village, like I'm telling you, I am
Team
not,
captive.
yeah, I am not strong in this sense. Um I feel like the only way to get me to show that kind of strength was if it was to like protect my kids. Like that's
Yeah.
the only thing I
Yeah.
could see driving me to put up that kind of fight.
Mm-hmm.
But Trollocs
Mm-hmm.
invade my village. Uh, I probably would have died when the Trolloc dragged me by my braid and then ate his friend. I
Oh
I don't think
yeah,
I
I
would have
forgot that
made it.
happened.
Yeah, and she had to hide. She had to fight it and then hide. I don't think I would have even made it that far. So I can't say that I blame Nynaeve for trying because she's scared and she's
Yeah.
scared for her friend.
Yeah.
And it seems like something, if they learn it, then, it could help them. So when Rima said, they're looking for a woman who can channel, I'll give them one.
Yeah.
Here's what I thought was going to happen because, I'm always having these alternate plots happening in my head. When she said
Mm-hmm.
that, I didn't think she was going to surrender herself. I thought she was going to pretend to be a Damane or something like that. Although I guess the Sildam know who the other Sildam are.
Oh,
Yeah. But I'm assuming that the
interesting.
Suldam probably know who the other Suldam are. Although it seems like there's a lot of Damane though, so I don't know. Maybe they don't all know each other.
Yeah.
But I thought she might
But
put the collar on and have like Nynaeve control it or something.
but she can never get it back off. I guess she can't. Well, we know that they can't take it off
They
themselves.
can't take it off themselves. The Suldam can probably take it off of them.
Mm.
Why they would do that, I don't know, unless maybe they just
That's
died.
yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, maybe it's released by death, but I feel like if the the Damane are not the property of the Sultan, that I would think that they don't have any control of it going on or off. I feel like they have to report higher up to be able to get clearance for that type of action.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I thought Rima was gonna do. I didn't think she was gonna go out there
I
and fight because it's a losing fight, and she knows that. But
yeah,
at least you get to take a couple Sildam down with you.
yeah, I thought she was gonna go out fighting, and because she asked Nynaeve to bring her ring to the flame, I knew that she fully intended to die. I feel
Yes.
like her and Basan talked about this. Like, worst case scenario, if we get caught up because these bitches can't channel properly, then we have a suicide pact where we're like, okay, you kill me and I die, murder suicide vibes. And so that I expected, but I didn't expect what happened. you know? It is literally a fate worse than death.
Yeah. I
The
liked
way she broke that one
how
girl's bones. Whew.
I was just about to say her fighting with the one power. Ooh, these women are scary. One that she burned up, and then
Mm-hmm.
so I felt really bad for the Damane because obviously they're slaves
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
being physically controlled and there's nothing they can do and they have to feel their Sul'dam's pain twice over. So I felt really bad when I saw the Sul'dam burning up and then her Damane grabbing at her face because she's feeling it all. And then the
Right.
other Sul'dam that she just like collapsed in on herself, which I guess they used the
Like a
contortionist because that
pretzel.
lady was folded up.
Yeah, she was. And you know, something that also made me think about is that she's so good at this because she's a healer, right? She knows the body in a
Yeah.
different way from other Aes Sedai
Yeah.
because she's of the healing class or healing order. And just whew, man, I love seeing an Aes Sedai fight in a way that we haven't that we're not familiar with because this type of fight we had never seen.
Yeah, I
Um
mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of Aes Sedai fights. We've seen Moiraine and Lan.
mhm.
We've
Seen
seen
Alana
we've seen Alana
in the
at,
Greens fight.
yeah, but that was a lot of like sending explosions and things like that.
Yeah,
We haven't seen someone do this. Well, we did see Moiraine ripping Trollocs in half. So we knew that something like that was possible. But
yeah.
since that episode, we haven't seen a whole lot of close up Aes Sedai fighting.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I think I agree with you. I do feel sorry for the Damane because they have no choice. They
They have no
literally have no
choice.
choice, you know? And I don't know if like as you continue to be bonded with your Sul'dan, that like do you develop this affinity, like this like symbiotic relationship where you're feeding off of each other or just like channeling this power and sharing that it, like does an intimacy begin to exist like between a warder and his Aes Sedai? um that's just something that I keep wondering about. Like, sure, if the bond isn't voluntary, but there's got to be some kind of closeness that develops over the course of this relationship. I was thinking that the bond between an Aes Sedai and their warder or a Soldam and their Damane reminds me, and I've been trying to figure this out for the last few episodes, of the relationship or the bond rather between a Spren and their Knights Radiant, right?
Mm.
It's just like there's something in there that makes them more powerful together. Um, or when one of them gets weaker, it makes them weaker, or they're just this feeling the pain, even though a Spren can't really feel the pain of their Knights Radiant when, you know, like I'm thinking of Syl, who begins to get weaker when Kaladin gets more depressed and
Hmm.
despondent, and fades away from existence. So yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
There's our Sanderson reference.
Boom. Put reverb on that. Yeah. But I mean, but for real, like just keeping it to Wheel of Time, like I do see a similarity in the bond between a warder and his Aes Sedai and, you know, a Soldam and their Damane.
It's just one
So,
relationship is forced and the other is by
mm-hmm,
choice.
exactly. And I
But
don't
you
see how
still,
you can't see,
hmm?
I don't see how you can't, if you don't recognize the forced relationship as being a dark thing, you know?
Oh, you mean like the Seanchins who allegedly
Yeah, like
are fighting for the light,
fighting for the light, but like, isn't
taking
slavery
slaves,
like a terrible thing?
kind of like fighting for independence with your slaves, making
Yeah,
them
you
fight
know.
too for your independence.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
we see that where
There's real world correlations.
yeah. I mean, and we know that they don't consider the Damane people. She says to Egwene,
Yeah.
I don't know how it must have felt to think you're a person your whole life only to find out you're a Damane. And then later on
OMG
she's
gasp.
yeah, and then later on when Egwene says that a woman can't have power with the collar on her neck, Rena is like, you're not a woman, you're a damane. It's like they really don't see them as people.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Or
really
is
want to
that or
know
is
how the
that just what
Sildam get
they
chosen.
or is that just what they tell themselves to justify their actions?
Testify. Mm-hmm. We
They're
know
not
that's how
real
it works,
people.
girl.
Right, they're not real people. So it's okay that we're
When you
torturing
dehumanize
them.
somebody,
Hmm.
exactly. When you dehumanize someone, it's easy to torture them.
And the fact that she told Egwene, your name's almost pretty, I don't see why you can't keep it. It shows another way they dehumanize them by taking their names.
Hashtag the Unsullied.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the Unsullied. They're not individuals anymore. They're just tools.
Mm-hmm.
One
Exactly.
dies and another one takes its place. Tortured
Mm-hmm.
into
Ooh,
submission until, you're this machine almost. What were you going to say?
the Gilded Ones. That pair. The pairing between the Gilded Ones and I forgot what their male part cohorts are called. But yeah, there's just I love see look at all these pairings across fantasy and speculative fiction. I love it. Shout out to tropes.
To finish talking about Rima, I was devastated for her when she saw Basan die and he was unable to just kill her.
Yeah, that broke my heart because
I
they,
knew he
you
wasn't
know,
going to be able to.
I just, she winked at him, and I was like, oh, does this mean, what is this wink about? Like, are y'all about to kick their asses? Like, okay, but then, she's telling him just do it, and he can't.
I feel like they
Like,
had talked about it. If I'm
yeah,
taken, kill me. And that her wink
yeah,
was like, well, here we are. We're in the end game now.
yeah.
Reminded me of
Insert Marvel
Endgame
theme here.
when Star Lord couldn't kill Gamora, even though they had discussed it. It was
Yeah.
still too hard to do it. I mean, what would it feel like for if a warder goes practically insane and suicidal when their Aes Sedai dies?
Hmm.
What does it feel like when you kill her?
You took the words out of my mouth, Miss Tanya.
The pain must
Like, it's
be
gotta be.
unimaginable.
Yeah. And we know that warder that Aes Sedai, they can bond more than one warder, and they've probably seen some die,
And
course of
it's
their
not that they
lifetime.
feel their warder's pain so much. It's
Yeah,
really the other way around because they live for centuries, so they outlive warders all the time.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was devastating. And but not only like to see him die and then get collared.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Maybe I was reading into it, but on my second watch, I kind of felt like that blonde Damane had pain in her eyes watching Rena get collared. They show her
Hmm.
face.
I'll,
They show her face, and Rena's getting collared and is like screaming and crying. And
mhm.
Damane, while she's obviously like using her power to try to subdue her, but at the same time, to
Right.
me, she looked sad about it.
Mm. Well, I have
I'll
to go
watch. I'll
back to
watch
check
again
for
and look.
that.
It could have
But
been me
since you're
reading too much
bringing
into it.
maybe, but maybe not, because this is not the first time we've seen close-ups of her. So I think we're going to get more of this particular Damani.
Maybe because obviously Egwene's
Ooh,
not going to stay a Damane forever. Like the show has to
clearly.
continue. She's not going to stay a Damane forever.
Hmm.
Maybe we keep seeing this blonde Damane because Egwene is going to free her and they're going to fight together.
I would love that,
I don't know
because it's like I'm not
how.
taking. Yeah.
I don't know how that would happen,
Well,
but
well, you know what? The other thing is that they say that the was Adon,
Adam. Mhm.
the Adam is made of similar things to the arches. And Nynaeve came back, right? So
Mhm.
is there a world in which Egwene finally is able to free herself because she harnesses her power and then is able to free Blondie? But the fact that we keep seeing her and not like the other Damane makes me think that she's got a pivotal role to play in the battles ahead.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Oh, and last thing about all of this, so we can wrap this up and finally move on. The Adam was
Almost, I have
created.
another point.
Oh, the Adam was created by a sister of the White Tower.
Yes. Can we settle? Let's sit on that for a second.
Why and for
Uh,
what purpose would a sister of the White
mm,
Tower create something this horrific? And was that sister a dark friend?
or was this created when you discover that there is a dark friend in your midst to control and punish them?
Or to use on a man who can channel?
Ooh. What would happen if you put this on a Forsaken question? Because they can channel too.
I have no idea. Their powers are beyond what I understand.
I feel like they'd see it coming unless we're right about the transitional period being a moment of vulnerability, which I still can't wait to find out. Um, but I was going to say real quick about just to go back to Egwene and Rena is if an Aes Sedai, or a channeler is wait, so is it only that an Aes Sedai has longer life, or is that anybody who can channel has a longer life than a regular person?
I thought it meant that embracing the power and using it over time extends your life. So even if you're not a
Okay.
sworn Aes Sedai, if you continue using the
Hmm.
power, it's gonna
Yeah.
extend your life.
So then my follow-up question is, does that mean that Rena's life would be extended or any Soldam lives would be extended by their connection with a Damane?
I don't know. We still don't know. Well, we still don't know if the Suldam can channel because we've talked about it, why it wouldn't make sense. Because then they
Hmm.
would also be collared. I would
Unless
think,
through being a Damane over time, they earn the right to not be collared anymore.
I don't know. I doubt that.
But that seems loosey goosey.
Yeah. And you don't want to give Damane hope. You need to keep them,
Yeah.
in their place, so to say.
Yeah.
What I think probably happens is that the Suldam age regularly and Damane get passed down.
Mm.
Like, what are they called in Elantris? The little balls of light. Aeons? No.
Oh, Aeons, yeah.
Aeons? Yeah,
Yeah.
like aeons. They get passed down like
I love them.
aeons.
Hmm.
That's what I would think.
In case you were wondering what the fuck we're talking about, that's Brandon Sanderson's first novel. Bing! We did it again. I hope he one day hears this and I would love to have him as a guest. Just
That
be
would
like,
be awesome. I
we're
wouldn't
your
even know
fan
what to
club. We're your
say.
black fan club.
I wouldn't even know what to
Oh, I'd
say.
have questions. I'd be like, did you know that you're the inspiration for my writers' workshops? Ah, you and Neil Gaiman? Ah, yeah. I
I would draw a
fangirl
blank and just
big
be
time.
smiling on camera. All right, let's get into Rand's arc for this episode so that we can actually do this
Randy Pandy.
in like a reasonable amount of time.
Wait, do you want to do Rand or do you want to do Matt first?
Well, they kind of go together, right?
Okay, yeah.
We'll do Rand and Matt.
Rand is in dreamland.
Yes, he gets to see Lanfear in her Dom gear.
Yum.
I was like, excuse me. I loved her crown.
Hmm.
And now that she's herself, she has the shorter hair. It's kind of that wet look. She has the dark eyeshadow
Hmm.
and she's just in leather and straps.
Love
Kinky.
it. Leather for your pleasure.
I laughed when she said, "What makes you think you can't trust me?" And he like gestures to the fact that he's shackled.
He's like, hello. You didn't appear in my dream and make me a free person. You know, we didn't wake up like cuddling.
Right. So all right, we know that Rand was really in love with her, even though he's pretending now that he was not in love with the Forsaken,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever. I would pretend to, because who wants to admit that? But
Mm-hmm. It seems real
Lanfear,
dangerous.
yeah, Lanfear in a way is confusing because one, we know that she was in love with Lews Therin, and she's in love with
Yeah.
him in every life, essentially, because she's in love with Rand now, because he is Lews
Play the
Therin reborn.
violins. Mm-hmm.
So, do
What
you
if he was
believe
born into
hmm,
a less pleasable
a less
form?
attractive form? Maybe
Yeah.
she'd love him anyway. I don't know.
Oh, that's true love. Sorry to interrupt. Continue.
Who knew this was so romantic? Lanfear's a romantic.
Oh,
Do you believe Lanfear when she tells Rand that she's been protecting him from Ishamael?
I mean, I love a good line, but honestly, I think that she has been protecting him. I feel like, but so question. She has been released, but after if she, two things. She's been released. So my question is, one, has she been, aware of Rand as the dragon, even in her captivity? And two, she must have been because of the stuff that she pulls with Liandrin. And also what we were just talking about, Ishamel being aware of Lan and, everybody involved from the two rivers. So if we say that she has been aware of him and is keeping tabs on her love across reincarnations, then yes, I believe that she would be protecting him, if only for her own purposes.
Because Ishamael was able to visit Perrin in his dreams before he was
Mm-hmm.
freed by Rand, if
Yes.
so he has great power in Tel'aran'rhiod. If Lanfear has even greater power than he does in Tel'aran'rhiod, then yes, I think she was aware of Rand and possibly visiting him in dreams without him knowing,
Mm-hmm. Because
watching
she
him
visited
sleep.
Leandrin without her knowing.
Right. So I do think she was aware, because if Ishamael was aware before he was freed, I don't see why Lanfear wouldn't be aware before she's freed. Which also, it's like, damn, you've been locked up for 3,000 years and you've been aware for all of it. Yeesh. No
I
wonder
know.
you're
Yikes.
evil.
And it's just like what also makes me wonder then um are are they shapeshifters too? Because like how you be watching people on the low from the dreams? Are you just like what do they call those characters in video games? NPCs?
NPCs.
you
I mean,
know,
yeah, maybe
just
she was
like
a
are you
dream
NPC?
NPC. Think about it. How
Yeah,
many faces do you remember from your dreams?
yeah.
Right?
Like you don't have to be a bird or a cat that's walking by, but you're just like, oh, the
Just
person
another
that you
face
passed
in
by
a
on the street
crowd.
that I was paying attention to, like in the Matrix, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, he could have seen her 1,000 times while dreaming and not realize that it's the same person, because you don't even remember most of your dreams.
1,000 times in one.
1,000 times in one.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I believe her when she says that she was looking out for him. Um, because true love
I see it
conquers
two
all.
ways. I feel like I can believe that she truly is protecting him because she does actually love him, even if it's like in this weird, twisted way. But at the same time, I could see her saying that to just further manipulate him, to get him away from
Yeah,
Moiraine,
yeah,
to be like, I'm protecting you from the bad Forsaken. I'm the Forsaken that's on your side, but we need to get you away from these Aes Sedai. When in reality, she needs him to fight for the dark as well. Because we know
yeah.
that again, they talked about, I think in the previous episode, Ishamael truly believes in the dark, and Lanfear just kind of
Right.
wants her man back.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it could be that she's trying to manipulate him to help the dark, but I could see it her actually wanting to protect him from Ishamael because she just wants him to be in love with her again.
hmm And also, like I see, like I'm wondering. Well, we know that Bran isn't Bran. Wrong series. We know that Rand isn't good at intrigue, and I wondered when he wakes up and he tells Moiraine, "I just got to get away from you, or else she'll kill you." Like, did they devise a method of staying in touch? Because as someone who has killed me already, yes, I want you far away from her. you know, look, I'm gonna keep coming back, but like this, she got the jump on me. Stay away. I need you to be far away from her. And also, if she's been sneaking in on his dreams, like, is the point to get him to go back to Logain? Like, that's Moraine's purpose, so he can be taught how to channel. But is this what everybody wants for him to go back to Logain to learn how to channel and to control um, his access to the one power and being able to embrace the source? Do all roads lead to Logain, whether you're on the side of the light or the side of the dark? Don't know.
That I do not have an answer
I love
for.
how I have so many questions about this series. Like, I am asking more questions now, and maybe it's because I'm just completely unfamiliar with it. But I enjoy the speculation.
So Rand has, after Rand leaves Moiraine, he has that nightmare where he's killed all his friends, and then Ishamael shows up and is talking to him, and
Mm-hmm.
Lanfear is like pops up like, "Bye, see, I've been protecting
Yeah.
you. I told you." I went back and
Mm-hmm.
forth on that too because I'm like, that could have been a plan between her and
A
Ishamael to
plan.
gain Rand's trust, or
Yeah.
she could actually just want Rand. It's hard. I don't know.
Mike, I have another question. So, is it that she's just showing up in whatever dreams he's having, or is she feeding him dreams?
Well, she did say she could show him things, and she told him she offered him a dream, a good dream.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that
Yeah.
it could be both. It could
Yeah.
be both. She's showing up in his dreams, but she's also feeding him dreams. Although if I were her, I would have fed him more dreams to make him love me more. So
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
maybe she could only feed him dreams when he acknowledges her in Tel'aran'rhiod.
Ooh. Then you are not so also powerful.
I don't know. That's
That's an
purely a
interesting. That would
guess.
be, yeah, I know, but that would be an interesting I don't want to call it a failsafe because that's totally the wrong word, but that would be an interesting catch, provision, clause, if you will.
She seemed very obviously jealous when she
Oh
told
my
Rand
God.
when she told Rand he could
Mm-hmm.
see anyone, and he's like, anyone, and she just knows he's talking about Egwene, and she's like, anyone. And then of course it is Egwene. And
Mm-hmm.
the moment
But
where
I
he
feel like
goes,
she had to know that was coming, no?
I think she knew it was coming and was hoping that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because while she was still Selene, he's told her about this woman that he's in love with. He's told her about her multiple
Mm-hmm.
times, and this woman thinks he's dead, and et cetera, et cetera. It was the moment that he was about to cup Egwene's face gently, that she snapped him back into his dream. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, she is really jealous. Egwene doesn't even know she has a target on her back from a Forsaken.
Mm-mm. Whew. 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 Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing their I don't want to call it relationship, but we just call it that, their relationship play out,
Between
because it is a
Rand
really
and
interesting
Lanfear.
power. Yeah, it is a really interesting power. And if, being a man who can channel causes him to become more and more mad, does he abandon his old affections and lean more towards her because he's getting closer to the dark side? Don't know. Or because, it happens that he marries somebody else. Like, does that repeat itself in every life? I don't know that that was clear to
So
me.
I don't know that Lews Therin
Or
left
was
her
it
for
just
an
the original life?
well, I don't know that Lews Therin left her for another woman. I just know that they broke up.
Ooh, so it was a man.
Well, no, no, I don't know. I just know they broke up. I just know they
Yeah,
broke up.
yeah.
So I don't know if it was because of he
Well,
loved
no, I thought
somebody
I
else
thought that
or
I thought that Maureen said they were in love until I thought Maureen said it was until he met his wife.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So okay, it wasn't a man, but he does leave her for another woman that he ends up marrying, and nobody recovers from that kind of jilt quickly. I don't know if it's 3,000 years quickly, but like,
Yeah, I feel like after 3,000
yeah.
years, you got to just move on. She said, I guess I'll see you next lifetime. I did wonder. So we talked a lot about, we kept saying, what price do they pay when they join the
Mm-hmm.
dark, but really
Mm-hmm.
joining the dark is the price. It's what,
Hmm.
yeah, joining the dark itself is the price. What are they hoping to gain by joining the dark is the real question.
Right.
What's the boon, right? I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if they're trying to get Rand to a point where he joins the dark to save his friends. And that's why they show so much interest in his friends.
Oh, that's I think you might be right there.
Like the only way that Perrin and Nynaeve and Egwene and Mat, the only way we'll leave them alone and they'll be safe is if you join the dark and fight for us.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Because that they keep hinting at that, right? Like, is he gonna break when he sees that all his friends um are either dead or that they, she says that he says they're never gonna join the dark side, but
They don't have to.
does he?
They don't
Yeah.
have to. They just need to torture them enough to get him to join the dark side to save them.
Yeah. And as we've seen, all the friends are willing to go the extra mile. Nynaeve had an out. Egwene says that her entire purpose is to be able to fight to get strong so she can fight to save them. And we know Perrin is on the lookout for them.
Mm-hmm. And it's all bringing everyone to Falme because now Red
Mm-hmm.
knows that Egwene's in Falme. Egwene was captured in Falme, obviously, and Nynaeve and Elayne are in
Mm-hmm.
Falme because they were brought there by Liandrin.
Mm-hmm.
Mat was going to go with Rand to Falme.
Yep.
Loyal and
And Perrin is on
Ingtar,
his way too.
Perrin is on his way to Falme, and Loyal and Ingtar are in Falme. So we're going to see something huge happen in Falme.
Yep. I mean,
Everyone
we
is
talked about it last
converging.
time that we think that everyone's converging there, right? So
Yeah,
this is going to be the center. This is yeah, this is the
it's
place.
going to be the place of something huge. Red wants to go to Falme to save Egwene, but he acknowledges that he knows that's where Ishamael wants him.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trap. It's a trap,
Clearly.
and it's one that he is willingly walking into to save Egwene. So that's why I think that's part of what supports me thinking that they want to use his friends to turn him to the dark, where he's willing to walk into a
Yeah.
trap to save just
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's in Falme? Other than Ishamael is staying there with the army, but like, what's in
The
Falme?
horn.
What's in Falme for real? Oh yeah, the horn is there now.
The horn is there. Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's gonna blow the horn.
That seems like that would be the
Maybe he's
game
gonna
plan,
blow the
right?
horn in Falme when we get a big battle. Seems too soon
Wouldn't
for
that
that though, right?
the this season?
Yeah. Like, do you think Egwene will still be a Damane next season, or do you think in the next two episodes she'll be freed?
I don't think she'll be freed in the next two episodes. I feel like that's too soon.
Hmm.
I feel like she's got to stay in there, but um I think in the next two episodes will be set up. I don't think like I don't know, has it been renewed for a third season?
Probably. I don't know.
Probably, right? So I don't think like the big battle can happen here. I think that we're left with a cliffhanger of maybe choices that need to be made.
I think Egwene will be freed in the finale, and that part of the cliffhanger will be them defeating something smaller and preparing for a bigger battle next season.
Only to see that they've released something large like last season.
God, I hope not. Oh yeah, because we have. Are we going to see the other Forsaken?
Would love to. I want to see the crazy ones
Mm-hmm.
and the ones that can't plan shit. Like hell yeah, I want to see more Forsaken. I don't know if they all get released. Maybe they prevent them from releasing another Forsaken, and in doing so, release two others.
Hmm. I think Egwene's going to be freed in the finale. Remember that I said that.
Okay, I will. It's now on record.
It's on record. I think that's how her storyline for this season ends. She gets freed
Hmm.
somehow, and there's some kind of battle with the Sanjin. Or even just
Mm.
maybe there's a Damane revolution. I don't know. I don't see how there could be a Damane revolution, but I also don't know how she could be
I say
freed.
she's still enslaved.
Okay. I also don't know how she could be freed in 2 episodes.
Unless Nynaeve learns to channel properly.
Well, maybe there'll be a big emergency and like she'll channel so hard that all the Damane collars open. Like that time she
Maybe.
saved all those lives, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's possible.
She healed that
That's
whole room
possible.
full of gravely injured people. So like maybe
I mean,
she'll
this bitch has a crazy redemption arc on the way, like she really has to have an explosive burst of her being able to channel. Do you question if we're talking about Rand going over to the Dark Friends in order to save people, is this something that Nynaeve will do?
no. I think
No?
Nynaeve would rather die.
Okay. Okay.
I think she would sacrifice herself first before she would turn to the dark to save her friends. I think that
Mm,
Rand in the end won't turn to the dark because the good people have to win in the end, right? Hopefully.
right.
This isn't George R. R. Martin, so hopefully. Um
Well, funny that you say that because I was going to ask you, because this isn't George R. R. Martin, does Elayne live through the end of the season?
I think so. The
Mm,
reason part I think we have to see more Elayne because we haven't met. They mentioned her brother Gawain. I don't know if that means like we'll actually see him, but they did bring him up. So, and I just feel like they do everything for a reason. Everything has a purpose, right? Especially naming people. Like giving people names is really important. And they named Gawain. And so we know she has a brother Gawain. We know her mother is Queen
mhm,
Morghese. I don't see how we don't meet Queen Morghese, especially after finding out that the Amyrlin was visiting her. Well, she was visiting
right.
Camelin. My assumption is she was in Camelin to see the Queen because who else would the Amyrlin be in Camelin to see?
Yeah.
So we got to see Queen Morghese. She's probably going to be asking about where the fuck her daughter is if she
Yes,
knows
for
she's
sure.
missing.
If she knew, I wouldn't let that shit out. That cat is in the bag side. That cat is in the bag that's like inside another bag, inside another bag, inside a safe.
And that safe is
Poor
encased
cat.
in concrete.
It's got the key from what's his name on Game of Thrones. Like, yeah, no, ain't nobody getting in there. You know what? This show isn't as fun because we can't have a kill. What is it? A death list. What do we call
I
that?
know our Deadpool.
Deadpool. We can't have a Deadpool on the show.
Yeah, they don't really kill people.
Yeah, they sure don't. Oh well. No, we're not dark friends.
Oh my
Oy,
gosh.
yeah,
Since we're talking about Rand,
yeah.
which is going to bring us into Matt,
Mhm.
Matt and Min are in Carrion finally. She did bring him to Carrion, but she is obviously regretting it and feels horrible. So I'm happy about
Mhm.
that because it means she is not willing to turn to the dark. She wants
Yes.
to get rid of her curse, but she doesn't want to go too far. And so when Ishamael kind of
Yeah.
changes the terms and it's like, okay, you did that, but I need you to do another thing. And then she tells Matt the truth. I believe that Min is going to keep her alleged curse and use it for something
Yeah.
that's needed later.
Yeah. I co-sign that. Yeah. I got nothing else to say about it. Except that I'm glad that she's like, I'm never gonna do it. And that even though she considers it a curse, it's not worth
It's not worth turning
killing
to
or
the dark
giving
to
up
get,
Matt.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So I can continue loving her.
And somehow Ishamael saw what Min saw in her vision. Like, what the fuck are his powers exactly? And why does he
Please.
want Matt to stab Rand? If you want Rand to fight for the dark and stop the wheel,
Mm-hmm.
why do you want Matt to have the opportunity to kill him? Because we did say maybe
Well,
Matt
like you
doesn't
said
kill
last
him.
time, exactly. Maybe it's not about him killing him. Maybe it's about him stabbing him with that particular dagger. When I first saw that vision, I thought that he would kill him, and that's why I was like, well, maybe he's not the dragon. Maybe it's Matt. But you're right. I don't think he has to die.
Remember, we were saying also that the vision could have been what could be, not what will be. Remember, you were like, he chooses a different doorway or something. And so the
Right,
vision
right,
that Min
right.
saw isn't what ends up happening. So, and obviously we see that Matt ends up not leaving with Rand because he knows that he's meant to kill him, which sucks. Can you imagine if you found out you were going to stab me in the future? I mean, I would hope you'd feel as heartbroken as Matt did. I hope.
Oh my God. No, I totally would. I'd be like, I'd consider cutting off my hands. I'd be like, I can't stab Tanya. Are you kidding? Ugh,
Yeah, I would hate to know that there's
ugh.
a future where I stab you, even if you live. Like,
No, I'd move.
I would
I
move
feel like I
too.
guess it's time to go back to Germany.
Yeah, I'd move too. And just
And I'd
we
hire a private detective to track your movement so I could just keep moving.
and but we'd keep our podcast, right? As long as
Yeah,
it's on Zoom.
totally.
As long as we're not
I
near
mean,
each other,
yeah,
we
we could
can't
do this
stab
from
each
everywhere.
other.
Right? Uh,
Well, unfortunately, they don't have Zoom in their world anymore. Rand goes to
I
see
bet they did
Logain.
before.
Huh? What'd you
I
say?
said, I bet they did before. I
No,
bet they did
they
before.
they absolutely had. I mean, they had flying ships. They had all kinds of shit. They
Hmm.
absolutely had video chats. Rand visits Logain and he's like, "Teach me,"
I knew you'd be back.
because he wants to be able to fight.
Yeah.
And Logain's like, "Bitch, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Why would I give?
Mm-mm.
Why would I just give this away?" And I kind of felt him on that.
But
He went through
I
a
did
lot.
too, but it's like he did. But my question to Logain is like, what does Rand have to offer you?
Nothing. What could Rand possibly offer him other than the sweet relief of death?
Yeah. And Rand tells him, he's like, I know that you want to do, he had good intentions. He wanted to save the world as, when he thought he was a dragon.
Mm-hmm. But he was
Um,
also going crazy. And oh my God, in the beginning, when we first meet Logain and he's hearing those
mhm.
voices, one of them is named as
Yes.
Lanfear.
Ooh, I didn't
I'm gonna
remember
go
or
back
know
and
or
double
catch
check.
that.
I'm gonna go back and double check, but I'm pretty sure when you watch with the subtitles that Lanfear is whispering to him.
Uh-huh. Oh.
I
Which
feel.
leads me to,
Go ahead.
which makes me go back to the question I asked before is, do all roads lead to Logain, no matter if it's whether it's the dark or the light?
Well,
Do they all
it
want to go
could
back to
be
him?
it could just be that the Forsaken thought Logain might be the Dragon Reborn
Mm,
because they don't have the. I'm assuming they don't have the prophecy, so maybe they don't know what age he's supposed to be. But if someone is
mm-hmm.
walking around calling himself the Dragon Reborn, because you know what, the prophecy happened later. It's a prophecy. Remember, they say that Moiraine heard it from the woman who gave the prophecy. She heard
Who
it
made it?
herself. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Moiraine heard it herself. So it's relatively recent. Before that, before I think before they're born, before Rand, etc., are born.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, that prophecy is what gives her the information to know about who the Dragon Reborn will be, age-wise, etc.
Right.
So
Uh-huh.
maybe the
So they just like
Forsaken,
tapped into the police scanners.
yeah, maybe the Forsaken were like, okay, this could be it. This because he's calling himself the Dragon Reborn, but Logain was very powerful. He was
Mm-hmm.
extremely powerful.
Super powerful. Yeah.
That it took several sisters to
Uh-huh.
shield him. And then the end, he didn't even, it wasn't actually even shielding him. He was just waiting.
Right. 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 Right.
He's
He was playing
extremely
possum.
powerful. So he would absolutely be on the radar of the Forsaken. And so Lanfear probably
Yeah.
thought that that was Lews Therin reborn. And that's why she
Oh,
was in
right.
his
That's my
ear.
boo. Got it. Yes.
I gotta go
Wow.
back to that episode, but I'm very, very sure
I
that
love those
Lanfear
connections.
that Lanfear was one of the voices he was hearing because they're named in the subtitles.
Yeah. Right, right, right. Oh, that's so smart. How observant of you. Tanya's a genius, guys. I
You
love it.
know, I'm just
I
brilliant,
love
right?
it. Yeah, totally. Wow. Yeah, that's really exciting. I mean, and then it's like Logain says that he sensed how powerful Rand was,
Mm-hmm.
but then he sees it firsthand.
He channeled so hard he
He's
threw
like,
up.
maybe I don't need to teach you anything.
Well, he needs to learn how to control it. He has raw power like
Yeah.
Nynaeve does.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's
it's
like,
not
actually, you could just kill anybody if you wanted to.
because
But
look how Rand
yeah,
burned down the
control.
inn. He didn't know what he was doing. So if he's in a
And he
situation where he
still
needs to
doesn't
fight,
know.
he doesn't know. The only thing we've seen him do is burn. He burned that fade. So if he wants to fight,
Yeah.
he needs to know war weaves of protection. He needs to know weaves of
Yeah.
attack. You know, he needs to know a lot more than he actually does. So it's not so much that he needs power. He has all the raw power, but he needs the skill that goes
Yeah.
with it. And that's what Rogaine. That's what that's what Logain practiced on for however much time it took him before he could use them efficiently in battle.
So question.
Hmm.
Like Rand leaves, right? Why not take Logain with you? If you're so powerful and
Well,
you're gonna skip town anyway.
Logain can't leave the facility, and I imagine Rand doesn't want to cause more problems and break him out.
Hmm. But he doesn't stay to learn anything
He
other
doesn't.
than, oh shit, no, you're really powerful. But like he doesn't learn any weaves. He doesn't learn anything about like trying to control. He just confirms that he can act, that he can embrace the one power. But
Well,
if this is the only person who can teach you how to channel or
Log-
control it because he's a male channeler.
Logain's the only person who could teach him, but Logain's not showing interest in teaching him.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, it's just going to be me and Matt on the road. And then Matt doesn't show up. So he's like, well, guess I'm
Mhm.
doing this alone. And then he gets intercepted
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
Lan and
Do you think
Alana and the others.
do you think that he really expected Matt to show up for him?
I think he did. I think
Yeah.
after finding each other after all this time, that he was hoping for it at least. There was no reason for him to believe that Matt
Extreme.
wouldn't show up.
I mean, I didn't think he would. I think he was all talk. I'm gonna go break a woman's heart.
Yeah,
All
but
right, fuck boy.
yeah, he's absolutely a fuckboy. But I do think that Matt meant to go with him until he found out it would end in him
Mm,
stabbing him with that dagger, which he
yeah.
doesn't even have
Well,
in his
when
possession. Where is that dagger?
where's the dagger? Thank you for taking the words
Is
out of my
that dagger
mouth.
in
But
Falm?
also, it must be
Is the dagger
maybe
in Falm?
Liandrin. Wait,
Maybe
no. Wait. Who has it? Who had it last?
the tower, I think.
So did Liandrin sneak it out the tower?
I don't know.
Who's watching it?
I don't know.
Where do such artifacts go?
I don't know.
Who's like signing out the release forms for this shit?
No idea.
Okay, well, yeah. When he finally did not show up, and you saw him like crying, you know, in the little shack, then I was like, oh wow, he really did intend to go with him. He does love his friend, except he lied to him. Where are the others? Where are the others? Bitch, you just saw Egwene.
Yeah, he saw her.
You
Oh, well,
just
he thought
saw
that
her.
maybe he thought he picked her up on the way. Because yeah, he should know that Egwene's
You
in the
saw
White Tower and
you
Nynaeve.
saw her and you pretended not to. You walked away.
Maybe he doesn't know Nynaeve's in the White Tower, but he definitely knows Egwene's in the White Tower.
Because Leandra said, go comfort your friend.
Maybe he thought Rand stopped by the tower and picked them up on his way.
Question. Then, do you think when Leandrin opened his cell and said, I'm so done with you, go, like we knew that was a manipulation and that he was going to meet up with Min
Mm-hmm.
and she was going to take him there. But do you think that in doing that, he was supposed to take Egwene with him? Like, yo, I'm out of here and I feel sad and I'm free too, or I'm going here, or at least plant the seed in that she would know where he was going. Because we know that Egwene coming along with Nynaeve was not necessarily very loose, tentative, necessarily part of the plan, but was that, another option to get them all in the same place if she ends up giving Egwene away
I
anyway?
don't think Egwene was on her radar at all.
Hmm.
I don't think she was thinking about Egwene. Although Egwene is very powerful, Um,
Yeah.
I'm still leaning towards thinking that Ishamael had who he had on his mind, and that's who he
Was
sent
Nynaeve.
Liandrin to go collect.
Hmm. So then, is the moral of the story here that everyone keeps underestimating Egwene, and that's why she's going to show us such a big, powerful burst that,
That she frees all the Damane.
yeah.
Where's my gavel? I'm gonna bang it. I think I think everyone has been underestimating Egwene, and that she's gonna show us a huge display of power in the final episode. She's gonna free some Damane, including that blonde girl, and there's gonna be some kind of fight, and they're gonna get separated again.
Wait, okay. Question before you bang your tiny gavel, and she's literally holding a tiny gavel. For you know what? We should take a picture of you having holding the tiny gavel, and we should post that on our Instagram. But my question is, if she does that, does she kill her soul dom, or does her soul dom come along with her? Does she free her as well in the process?
She kills her. Suldam gotta die.
Mm,
Suldam gotta
but I feel
die.
bad for her soul dom.
I don't. Suldam gotta die. I
I
feel I
do.
feel no sympathy for slave masters. So Suldam or overseers. Or overseers. Suldam
Feel you
have
on
to
that.
die, but they have to be tortured first because they need to feel a taste of what they were doing to their damane because they have no idea.
I'm into reversal. Yeah, I'm
So
into that
yeah, it's not
reversal.
going to be as simple as crumpling them up like Rima did. I think that they got to torture them somehow. Maybe, well, I don't know if the collars would work on the Suldam
Do
if
they
they
get so
can't
do they get
channel.
and that's what I was going to ask. Do they get collared?
But I
But we
don't.
don't know for sure that they can't channel yet.
I guess we don't know for sure. I just don't think they can.
Real quick to talk about Lady Suroth, I think that the thing that's worth mentioning is I didn't know that Loyal can make trees grow. All right, that was cool. They know that the horn is there. That's cool. But the fact that she is so intent on establishing her stature and position,
Mm.
right? She wants everybody to know that she's richer than Turek. She wants everybody to know, look at me. I have this. What did she call him? This gardener, this builder in my court. He's now my servant. Look at me, look at me. I mean, her whole thing is look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And I feel like that's worth noting and that will be her downfall.
Yeah,
She's a social climber.
she's a social climber. And I imagine her
And we know that
support.
just doesn't work out for people.
No, and well, she's a social climber and her support isn't sturdy.
Mm-mm. No, she's just got a court of hangers on,
And they'll move
sycophants.
on to the next best thing when the time comes. She showed a lot of
Absolutely.
jealousy when they were showing all that attention. When they stopped laughing at Loyal and were in awe of him, is when
Mm-hmm.
she started looking
And
around like,
then
wait a minute.
And I don't know that it was, I mean, I think that it was partially jealousy, but it was also fear because as quickly as you can gain something, you can lose it too.
Mm-hmm.
And who's to stop? Like, you don't know if anybody in that room is actually more powerful to her. I didn't get that sense. But also, can I just like, on some dumb shit, like, you're not worried about any of these people reporting back to Lord Turak? Like, no,
Yeah, right.
you don't think anybody in your little court is a plant? Because
Well,
I would be worried about
she
that.
sold herself to the dark, and we don't know what for yet. It seems like to get power, but
Yeah.
getting power just doesn't feel like enough, especially
Mm.
with the way Shamael humbled her last episode by saying he knows why she swore. So
Mm-hmm.
she's probably not worried about word getting back to Turok because she feels emboldened by Ishamael being on her
Right.
side.
Yeah. Yep. Points were made.
Yeah. Also, tree singing, very cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Liandrin and her son. So we learned that Liandrin swore her oaths to keep her son alive. So when Nynaeve said,
Mm-hmm.
your son is dying, is it worth it? That probably cut her to the bone
Yeah.
and made her really consider. We also get Leandrin's backstory about her being beaten and starved and forced to marry before she bled.
A child bride. A
No
baby
wonder
bride,
she
not even
hates
a
men.
child bride, a baby bride.
No wonder she hates men.
Yeah. Yeah, oh my, so totally. But then also Lanfear saying that this is not a life.
Yeah. He's a
The life that your
vegetable.
son is living is not a
He's a
life. Yeah.
vegetable. To eat off the
Yeah. So yeah, totally. Totes.
But she also
Yeah.
can't,
So,
Liandrin can't give in
mhm.
when Lanfear offers to end it. Um, Liandrin can't do it. She can't let Lanfear kill him because it's her baby. And
Well, no, she did kill him. Did she not?
no, she stopped taking his breath away because Liandrin was
Oh,
begging
I thought
her.
he was dead.
No, he went back to
Oh,
his state that he was in.
his vegetative state. Oh, because when I watched it, I was like, oh, so she couldn't kill him herself, and they know that Liandrin can't fully commit, knowing that he's still alive. So Lanfear was like, let me pull this plug for you, girl. I got you.
No,
Now you can commit fully to the dark friends, the dark cause.
When Liandrin started crying and like sobbing and saying no, Lanfear stopped what she was doing.
Mm,
And I mean, her sole purpose, allegedly, well, at least one of her purposes for swearing her oath was to keep her son alive. So what would be the
yeah.
point in having Lanfear kill him? You've already given up so much. You've broken your oath. You've betrayed your
Hmm.
sisters. You know, you let him die. Well, what's the point in swearing to the dark now, other than being stuck because you already did and you can't unswear?
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is like if everything comes with a boon and a trick, then maybe that's it. Well, we kept him for alive and what he's distracting you. So, let's remove the
Right. We
distraction. And
kept him
now
alive. We didn't say
where are you gonna turn?
we kept him alive. We didn't say he'd be living. And she probably thought he'd be
Or that
walking
he'd live a
around.
forever.
Right. Or that she probably thought he'd be
Yeah.
walking around just like her and she'd be able to continue and have a
What does this
relationship with
remind you
him.
of? This remind you of anything?
Daenerys trying to bring Khal Drogo back to life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I promised you
Everything
life.
magic always has a price.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about land.
They go to the Temple of the Forsaken. Lan asks his questions, which to them is super suspicious, which I never considered. I never considered through all of this that them finding that poem on land, that prophecy or whatever it was, that them finding that him being, standoffish,
Evasive.
evasive, and him asking questions about the Forsaken when they're at the temple. Like, I never considered that they would think he's a dark friend. But when you look at it from their
Dude.
perspective, they don't know he's found the dragon reborn. They just know he's acting
Exactly.
real
It's
fucking
totally
funny.
sus.
Yeah, he's acting real fucking funny. He has this poem that is used that's on Lanfear's seal that he's obviously hiding. They don't know he stole it from Moiraine. And then he's sneaking off that night asking questions about the Amyrlin. He looks so suspicious, and I never considered it. I'll be honest.
Dude, never. When they said that, I was so shocked. And I was like, oh, that's why they're bringing him here to get a rise out of him to see how he's going to react to being in this place. Like, is it going to make him antsy?
Is he going to show
And
reverence?
I never would have guessed. But when they started questioning him, or when he I forgot the warder's name, but when he started reciting the blood from blood and all that stuff
Ivan.
to like see if he'd react, I was just like, oh shit. Of course they think he's a dark friend. And then just like all the sorrow in their eyes and their hurt when they're like, listen, we don't want to kill you, but we're going to.
And Alana.
Ugh.
Alana looked,
Mhm.
ready to rip him in half. Like,
How
what?
about the okie doke they served him? Like he thought that they were playing around in the tent. He tried
Yeah,
to sneak off,
they
and they were
tricked
like,
me
haha.
too. I was like, who laughs?
Yeah.
I was like, who laughs that much when they're fooling around? Like, there's an awful lot of laughing. I don't know. Maybe yeah, you just giggle all through sex.
I well, not all through it, but I am a giggler.
But he showed up
Yeah.
so fast, and it's like they've been watching him really closely this whole time. So
And how did they do that?
how long have they
Like, was
suspected he's
someone
a
throwing
dark
their
friend?
voice?
Well, no, he was in there just probably peeking out and watching. And he's a warder. He can
Mm-hmm.
move lightly and sneak up on you.
Yeah, true. True, true, true.
How long did they think Lan was a dark friend?
Probably since he came back. He came back without Moiraine.
Because they don't know Moraine's been stilled, do they?
Mm-mm. No, nobody knows. And he didn't tell them that.
No.
He's the only one who knows.
And so it's suspicious that he's separated from Moiraine. And then they find this poem on his person. And then he's asking about the Amyrlin, asking about the Forsaken, and then trying to
Mm-hmm.
sneak off. So yeah, it makes sense that they were super
And the
suspicious.
fact that they're feeding him all this information to see what he like, they're not denying him answers. They're just
Right.
like, what's he gonna do now? Yeah,
Well, Alana can't lie. So when she
yeah.
tells him she's on her way back from Camelin, it's obviously the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of can't lie, so when you swear your oaths to the dark, I'm guessing it breaks your other oaths. Because when she
That's what
said you
I'm
couldn't,
guessing.
when Lanfear said that Liandrin couldn't take them back, it made me think that the way the Aes Sedai swear their oaths on the oath rod and
Mm-hmm.
forces them to keep the oaths, that perhaps it's the same when you swear to the dark, that it forces you to keep the oath and it breaks the previous oath. That's my new guess
Yeah,
for how that works.
supersedes.
Yeah, because they're
So
more
do you think
powerful.
that we're gonna, yeah. So do you think that means we're gonna see somebody in the process of swearing the dark oaths? I
That
would
would be
love
cool
that.
as like the cold open, a
Mm-hmm.
new Black
And then
Ajah
maybe they
sister,
don't it get interrupted.
like a new
Yeah,
Black Ajah
ooh,
sister.
that's
Because
yeah.
we still don't know, because it's a Black Ajah,
Yeah.
it's not just Liandrin. We have no idea who
No,
else
it's
is
not.
involved. We have no
Nope,
idea.
you sure don't. So I was watching it on my projector. Can you confirm for me that when Leandrin was with her son, that her ring was black? Is that a black stone in her ring? Because it wasn't red.
Um, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah, let me know because they do a close up of her hand in the ring, and I just like because my projector streams dark. I was
I'll
wondering.
watch
I was also
again.
watching it during the daytime, so maybe I should watch it at night.
I'll watch again and I'll tell you, and you can like
Okay.
put it in the comment
Thank you. I
whether
don't
or
want to
not
like
it's
adjust all my
confirmed.
settings because it's good. Yeah. Um.
Well, Lan tells Alana that they found the dragon reborn. And so she takes him to meet the Amyrlin, who, holy shit, she makes a knife crown. I
A
was
knife
like,
crown.
that's new. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen we've seen Leandrin make a blade. We've seen the
Yep.
Damane send a blade, but a knife
Mm-hmm.
crown? It's a bunch of
Yeah.
sharp daggers ready to shoot them out.
That she can just shoot off. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oof. I love her and all her outfit. I loved all those furs and the gold. You know, I love gold.
Yeah.
Furs and the
Yeah.
gold and everything. I was like, yes. It looked like
She
she was
reminds me of
writing
somebody, and
letters.
I had it, but I don't know who. Yeah, well, she was, right? Because we saw the seal that was broken. We haven't talked about Moiraine yet in this episode, but we saw her seal that was broken on the letter that Moiraine was writing. So
Hmm.
they're still corresponding with each other. So he was right, she was writing. Before we like talk more about how she was, I was like, who the fuck is like rolling up on the Amyrlin seat like that? I didn't think it was Lan. I was like, oh no, she's in trouble. We're about to see this bitch fight.
That's what I thought
Um,
too. I thought we were about to see
I
her fight.
Yeah. And I was like, well, who would be worth the trouble? Maybe it's like Ishamel or something. And I did have a question that I don't think makes any sense, but let's throw out some speculation. What if the Amerlin seat is a dark friend and a black Aja?
So I've thought about that, and I think it would be going too far.
Yeah,
Because like she's the
to
one
George.
yeah, it's too George. Like she's the one person who's been working with Moiraine. You know, they've been doing this in secret for so long. I just feel like
Hmm.
it would be too much to make her a dark friend.
Then what if Moiraine is a dark friend? That was my other question.
Nah. Because why would she be doing all this and running from Lanfear?
She
If she's a dark friend, it wouldn't make any sense.
just set up the plot
Just to trick
to
Rand
play the
further.
game.
That's like extreme
Hmm.
manipulation. No, I don't think that that's the case. Because
I
we
would love it.
there has to be somebody on the good side.
Yeah,
And I think
I
that's
suppose.
Moiraine, Alana, Varen, and the Amyrlin. And Adeleas, of
Yeah.
course. There
Yeah.
has to be a good
Okay.
side. So I think it would be too much if everyone is just a secret dark friend. But I do wonder if any of the sisters we've seen are dark friends, or are we just going to meet some new sisters that are dark friends? Because we haven't met a lot of
Yeah.
sisters, not by name. And I think if one was a dark friend, we would have met her by name. Maybe Naomi.
Which one is Naomi?
When Varen shows up with her booze and meets the two brown sisters, Jessica and Naomi. Naomi is the short blonde one.
Oh, the short with the one who takes the drink first.
Yes. Because we haven't
I
seen a
liked her
lot of
instantly
named
for
sisters,
that.
and we know Jessica is on Varen's side. What if Naomi's a dark friend?
Yeah. Hmm. Well, you know what? Honestly, if she was, I'd be really mad for them for leaning into that evil, like, well, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, evil dwarf trope.
I'd, yeah, I'd be really pissed about that. But what else? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be somebody,
Yeah, maybe it's just
and
not
we know
anyone
that
we've
it's
met.
we know now. Yeah, it's like I don't think maybe it's no one we've met, because I don't think that it's
We know it's not
the
the
Master of
mistress. Yeah,
Novices. I
we know
keep
it's not the mistress of
the Mistress
novices
of
because she was
Novices.
compelled to, write that and diary entry.
What if it's our homie, the Keeper? But then I feel like because wouldn't it be possible that dark that Black Aja are operating independently of each other and they don't know that? Like I feel like if I was a dark friend, that it would be possible for them not to know that there are other Black Aja in there because this is a secret order.
And when they were at the meeting, they all wore masks.
Mm-hmm.
So you could very
And we have
well,
decided it's not Liandrin.
yeah, Leandrin's not important enough to be in the meeting, we
Mm-hmm.
assume. And
Yeah.
so there's someone else higher up who maybe we haven't met yet. There aren't a lot of named sisters. It better not be Adelaus. I don't think it's Adelaus. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, they all wore masks. So it is very possible that this Black Aja operates under the dark, but not together.
Yeah, I think it would make more sense. I feel like it'd be safer to do that.
But then again,
Yeah.
how do they accomplish their goals if they don't know any other sisters?
They have to report directly.
Yeah.
And Leandrin seems to be doing just
Yeah,
fine,
that's true. Leandrin is reporting directly to Shamael and to the Seanjin.
because and yeah. But then it makes me wonder, like we talked about this a couple times here, but if you don't need to, if you can communicate and talk to people, even if you're not sealed, then it stands to reason that other Forsaken ones are talking to other people.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, maybe it's just like, hey, like you don't tell anybody about Fight Club vibes, but like, okay, this one is talking to me because you don't want like what happens if you get caught as a Black Aja in the White Tower?
Execution, I would think. Well, stilled. I think you'd be stilled.
Stilled.
They said it takes 8 sisters to still someone.
Or an Adon, since it was invented in the White Tower to be controlled and never have, your own agency again. But I feel like would be even be extreme for the White Tower. But maybe it's an ancient punishment.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. I think that dark friends in Black Aja would operate independently of each other and have no knowledge of each other. That's my
It
theory.
would explain why everyone at the meeting wears masks so that you don't know who the other dark friends are and
Mhm.
you can't tell on them.
Yeah,
Snitches get stitches.
basically.
Even though Pattern
Yeah,
Fane did lift his mask at one point. But if anything, I
he
think
don't give a fuck.
he doesn't give a fuck. But I think if anything that was to um emphasize that they are wearing masks, that these are dark
Mm-hmm.
friends and they're possibly people that we know, but they're all masked because they're hiding
Mm-hmm.
from each other as much as they're hiding from the outside.
Which brings me back to who the fuck is that little girl?
Well, some people who swear to the dark are parents.
They didn't have daycare.
They don't have daycare.
They
It's
couldn't get a
very
babysitter.
expensive. Daycare is horrendously expensive. And sometimes
True
you have to
that.
bring your baby to a meeting.
True. True. As we've seen on the news and in many other popularized and viral videos of kids breaking into meetings.
Sometimes you got to bring your baby to the meeting.
Hmm.
You've brought
Okay,
my baby
I
to
can
your
accept
meeting.
that. I really have, literally. He was a fan fave. And I brought my nephew to meetings too, and he's definitely crashed my meetings.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes you
yeah,
just don't have a
yeah,
sitter. And it just shows you that
yeah.
anybody could be a dark friend. That bartender was a dark friend. She seemed like a nice lady who just wanted to see the world. Dark friend.
Mm-hmm.
We have a dark friend who's clearly a mother or father, brings their kid with
Mm-hmm.
them to
Mm-hmm.
meetings, but they're probably a
Yeah,
doting parent on the outside. Dark friend. Pat and Fane, this
yeah, yeah.
friendly peddler who comes and brings news and items and shares jolliness and joy. Dark friend, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Liandrin's like the only one who
Yeah.
was truly telegraphing that she was a dark friend because she came off as evil from the
Yeah,
beginning.
she did, but even if she was like, let's say, let's pretend to see past that and say that she was just a man-hating Red Ajah, just like this is just the theme of Red Ajahs. This is like their characteristics. And then if you're a man-hating one, then you would hate the Dragon Reborn.
Mm-hmm.
But also dark friend.
Dark friend. Anybody can be a dark friend,
Hmm.
except for Seanchin, perhaps, other than Lady Suroth,
Yeah.
who's clearly going
I want to
against
make
what
one
they
of those
believe
boards now.
with all the
Like the detective
strings.
board, like investigative
Yeah.
boards with all the strings and stuff. Yeah, I might do that for funsies.
Uh,
I'll post it on our Instagram if I do. I won't, but if I do, it sounds like a fun idea. I'm sure someone else has done it.
well, the last
Yeah.
thing we need to talk about is
Okay.
Moiraine. Moiraine, Moiraine,
I like
Moiraine.
I like I love that she apologized for snubbing her nephew's sandwiches
Yes.
because that really hurt my feelings.
To go back a little bit, she's trying to write a letter to Soan Sanche to tell her that she's been stilled. And
Hmm.
she's like unable to find the words to say this. I also like that they don't write in English, that they have like their own alphabet. I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty cool. Reminds me of like when I found out that people can't read in dreams.
I can.
I can too, but like apparently that's
Yeah.
not a thing. Like
Oh
most
yeah,
people can't.
remember we were talking. Yeah, I remember we were
Yeah.
talking about this. I sent you that article that it's unusual for people to be able to read in dreams.
Yeah.
If you can, let us know in the comments because you are one of the few,
Yeah.
and you're
So
one of us.
her
Ah,
writing, the fact that they're all speaking in English and then her writing in these like other characters it just made me think of dream reading. Anyway, she's trying to find a good way to tell Soan Sanche that she's been stilled, even though I'm holding on
yeah.
hope that she's just shielded somehow. Just let me have
It's like
this.
right, emailing all your lovers that you have an STI. Like, I don't know how to tell you this, but
I might have gave you the
yeah,
clap.
terrible. Get up on your
So the
penicillin.
letter she had, that was the Amyrlin seal on it. I
Hmm.
just saw she had a letter with a broken seal. I didn't know who it was from.
Yeah, it's the same seal as the Amyrlin seat. I peeped that. It's like the yellow thing with like the water drop or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Her sister rightfully tries to kick her out after she rejects Barthanes and his delicious sounding sandwich.
I wanted
I
one. Made me
want you out of this
hungry.
house tomorrow and out of the city tomorrow. And then Moiraine pulls rank, which I didn't know she had it in her. I am the damage
I
red heir.
suspected.
Heir, heir, heir.
Mm-hmm.
I am the damage
Mm-hmm.
red heir. You stay here by my good grace. I was like, oh
Yeah, you
shit.
and your son.
Yeah.
And something that I was talking to Tanya about after we recorded our last episode was that I remember from my art history classes, shout out to Dr. Manette, that there was a period which I cannot remember. I should have Googled it before I opened my mouth, but in which people in pictures were portrayed. It's like little kids do this too. They draw people their importance is telegraphed by their size in the image. And
Yeah.
Moiraine in that picture with her and her sister, she was much bigger
Mm-hmm.
than Anvir was. And so that to me was saying that, okay, no, like it wasn't clear to me that she was the heir, but she was the older sister, but like she was clearly the lady of higher import. And so when
And her
she pulled
father's
rank, I was
favorite.
like, ooh,
And her father's favorite. And she says
yeah,
her Anvers tells her like you have nothing of him in you. You're like mother to the bone or something like that. So that's like we don't know a lot about their mother, but we know she clearly was like not a good person, not someone they liked.
can't wait to find out.
She also said, "I know you never cared for me," and that was interesting to me because what would she have against her little sister?
Mm.
It's your baby
The fact that
sister.
she was able to have kids and stuff, and that
Like
I mean, like
jealousy?
we also don't know how she went on to become an Aes Sedai either,
No, we don't.
and I suppose that has something to do with it. Maybe she wishes she could be normal, so she wasn't like in this eternal struggle between the light and the dark.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where it comes from. Because we know her sister straight up can't channel. She's like, yeah, no, I tried.
Yeah. Well, in any case, Moiraine does go and apologize to Barthanes and his finger waves. And we
Mm-hmm.
learn that the Amyrlin is in Carrion and she's brought 14 sisters, including Liandrin. And the last time she did that was to unseat a king. So something big is going to happen in Carrion. There's 7 Ajah, so 2 sisters from each Ajah. And the last time they did that, they
Okay.
unseated a king. And according to Suan Sanche, she's, quote, more frivolous than the previous Amyrlin. So
Mm-hmm.
she's
And
not
when
there
she
to
said that, I
unseat.
was like, is she a dark friend?
No, I don't think she's the dark friend. I think she was just throwing shade to Liandrin.
Mm-hmm.
Leandrin's always in her face too. Like,
She
girl,
really is. That shit is mad annoying.
like no, but you never see anybody else walking up to her and having a whole bunch to say. It's always Leandrin.
No, the audacity. It's like, how come she hasn't put her in her place? Which makes me wonder, do you think that the Amyrlin knows that Liandrin is a dark friend and that's why she lets her pop off any which way? Because she just wants to like
But
keep
keep her
tabs on her
close.
by letting her think she, yeah.
It seems like Leandrin might be a sitter of the Red Aja.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why she's always there.
Well, that's why that would have been why she was in that when Moiraine got banished or exiled.
Hmm.
She was in the room. Yeah.
So yeah, I think
And
I
that's why
think
she has, yeah, people allow her a lot because,
she's a
you know,
sitter.
she, yeah, yeah.
So did Lan tell Suan Sanche that Moiraine has been stilled? And can you unstill a sister?
I think he did.
Yeah. Do you,
Like why else try to get in touch with her and be on the, because he knows about the
and
relationship.
what could he say that would get her to stop in Carrion instead of going back to the tower?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one that she's been stilled, and two, she found this dark friend's prophecy, and that's what she was searching for, and he stole it from her. So he knows that she must be on the way to do something reckless
And he knows that
and
she
probably
knows
sacrifice herself.
and he knows that she knows about the dragon reborn because he knows about her and
Reborn.
Moraine's relationship. But Alana and Ivan and Maxim don't know that
Yeah.
Moiraine and Swan Sanche have this relationship, and they've just learned about the dragon reborn. So to them, if that's the information he was giving her, to them it's the first time she's getting it. So she would absolutely have to put on a
Mm-hmm.
show and act as if this is the first time she's hearing of it. She couldn't just be like,
Right.
"Oh no, that's crazy."
Right. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
I did not watch previews for next week,
Me neither.
so I'm purely guessing as to what we'll see. I think there's going to be a showdown with Swan Sanche and somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Something's going to happen in
Yeah.
Carrion. The Amyrlin showing up in
Yeah,
Carrion
something
can't
got
be a
to.
small thing.
Not when Ishamil is there too.
No, he's in Falm.
Oh, he's in phone. Oh, right. Might be.
Rand
Yeah. And the
just
fact that Land stopped Rand.
Rand is in, I was gonna say Rand is in Carrion. Matt is in Carrion. Min is in Carrion. Everyone else is in Falm, and Perrin is on the road with Avienda.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see Avienda
Yeah, forgot about her for a second. Nope, we didn't.
or Perrin. We'll see them
Well,
next
I
week,
mean, all
maybe.
the troops are mobilizing. Everybody's mobilizing to go to Falm, I guess.
So I guess something will happen in Carrion that sets up for a big showdown in Falm.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's gonna blow that horn.
Cliffhanger. Yeah,
It's been around now
I
2
think so.
seasons. Someone's gonna blow that horn.
Yep.
But who?
Or maybe it gets stolen again because they know where it is.
Right. They know it's in
I
Falm.
could see it. I could see a situation in where they want to go, to use it, and then it's missing.
Well, maybe when Egwene somehow gets freed and then, frees some other Damane, including our blonde friend, and then tortures some Suldam, while they're doing all of that, someone will also retrieve the horn.
Yeah,
That's a
in the
lot of what
chaos and
ifs.
confusion.
Yeah, that's a lot
That
of
is
what
a
ifs.
lot. You know what I'd also like to see, since we're what ifing? Like, when did the other Ogiers come into play?
Well,
You know?
remember, Loyal wasn't supposed to leave his steading. He snuck out the house.
Yeah, but he did. But it's like in Lord of the Rings where they get all the trees to finally join the fight, join the fray.
It seems though
Is
like the
this something that
Ogier don't get
happens?
involved with this kind of shit because we've never heard anything about the Ogier other than being builders.
No, neither did the trees.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. That's my what if. That's one of my what ifs. One of my many what ifs.
Ugh. So I went into this thinking there's not a lot to say about this episode.
Yeah, but now it's been 3 hours.
So,
Yeah, no, this was, you know what? I thought that too. It went by in a flash, but there's just like, I think that there are a lot of like pivot plot points that are coming up now.
and it's been
But
2 hours. Okay.
I know, I was
I
joking.
know, I know, I know.
I was joking, but it's just like all the pieces on the board are moving into place. And
Yeah.
it's like, you're right. There's a big play that's about to happen.
And next
This
episode
is a
is the
set
penultimate.
piece.
So if it follows in the scheme of like Game of Thrones, next week is going to be the huge event that I keep saying will happen in the finale, or maybe it'll be next week, and then the finale will be like the cleanup episode to
Could
prepare us for
be.
next
I don't
season.
remember how. I want to say historically, but we only have one other season to go by.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm excited. Um, you know, I really still can't get over the fact that last episode you reminded me that there were only 3 episodes left.
Mm.
Because this has just happened it's all happened
You
so
know what?
quickly.
Ingtar is gonna get that horn.
Yeah, I want him to.
Yeah. Also love the
I
way he
want him
looks with
to.
eyeliner.
Me too. Meow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's the one, I don't say that he deserves it, but to me it makes the most sense to fall in his hands.
Hmm.
Um
Well, they were the protectors of it.
and yeah. And I just don't see High Lord. I also, if we're doing Deadpool, I don't see High Lord Turak making it out.
No, no, he's gonna be
And
killed.
also, about Lady Suroth, as something that I wanted to bring up is like these people who are like fake laughing at all her jokes and stuff, like how much respect can they have for someone who just got her long fingernails cut off?
Mm. Well, they're clearly
You
lower
know?
station and still feel that they can use her to social climb.
Yeah, like bottom feeders for real though.
Hmm.
Because like she just got disgraced publicly, and apparently the most, like, outside of getting collared, it seemed like it's the most um severe punishment you can get outside of like death and getting collared. So, yeah, those people are questionable.
I mean, she probably went and picked up the most desperate hangers on.
She's like, kind of my party. You never get
Yeah,
invited to anything.
exactly. Because the people she probably had in her court before moved on because she's been disgraced. So she probably went and picked up
Yeah.
the stragglers who just are desperate to have some kind of
honored to
closeness
get
to
the
the gentry.
invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why that made me think of Gilded Ones in one season. Not Gilded Ones. The Gilded Age in one season 2 is going to come out, but
I haven't watched that.
I'm waiting for that too. Oh, you'll love it. It's so good. It's just, she's messy, but she's great. Yeah. Yeah. Tanya also hasn't watched Succession yet, so I'm trying to get her on that. So,
That was supposed to be my summer
encourage.
project. And
Yeah,
it just too many
it's
things
okay.
happened.
Whenever you're ready.
I do want to watch it, so I will. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Final thoughts?
Some shit's gonna go down. It's gonna be big. There's gonna be a lot of fighting. That's my final thought.
In summary.
Yeah, next episode, maybe we get to see Swan and Sanche fight.
That would be dope.
Your final thoughts?
Yeah, just the same. I don't think Egwene is going to get free in this season. It'd be cool if she did. I just don't see it happening. I feel like that'd just be too big a thing to happen. But I do see a lot of political pieces moving into place, and maybe there being an ultimatum or a gauntlet thrown. So, yeah. Wait. We got spooky season shit coming up.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Spooky season. This year we are doing all throughout the month of October 30 Tuesdays. That's 5 Tuesdays back to back. And this year we are doing multiple media formats. So we're doing a radio show, we're doing a television show, we're doing 3 movies. So we're starting off with Inner Sanctum, and the episode is called The Dark Chamber. You can find that on YouTube and also on Spotify. We're doing a Twilight Zone episode that is TBD. Tanya will let us know. Followed by The Craft, Beetlejuice, and the first Nightmare on Elm Street. I was gonna say Nightmare Before Christmas. The first Nightmare on Elm Street. The OG one with Johnny Depp and Freddie just being a messy bitch.
Love it. Favorite.
Yeah. Love. I cannot wait. And we're probably going to be guests on AK Watches streams, and she will definitely be hanging out for at least one of ours. So, yeah. Spooky
Fun stuff
season
coming up. I love spooky season.
And on October 22nd, we have Wine on an Empty Stomach Book Club. We'll be doing The Monsters We Defy. You have plenty of time to read that. Like, get going. It's good. I just started it. Oh, it's got ghosts and shit in DC. So
it's very spooky. To find previous episodes, go to thousandeyespodcast.com. You can also find us on YouTube, 1,000 Eyes in One Podcast. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter as 1,000 Eyes One, Facebook and Instagram, 1,000 Eyes in One. If you're interested in our speculative fiction book club, that is Wine on an Empty Stomach on Instagram. I've been Tanya.
And I'm always Nikki. See you next time.
Bye.